You have to film them there.
Yeah, this afternoon.
Wow.
So I hope the weather's going to be nice out.
Yeah.
We'll see. But, whatever.
Yeah, we
It
don't
is
wanna,
what it is.
It is what it is. You don't
Can't
want to
change that.
Oh. Hey, how you doing?
Hey, welcome. Why don't you pull up a chair?
Yeah. My name's Todd Sullivan.
And I'm Carlos Cia, and we are Half Cut Myths and Mysteries.
That's right. We are going to be investigating some of the myths and mysteries around Kamloops, which is where we live here in central BC. And the first thing we're going to dig into is ghost hunting. Today we're going to be meeting with a couple of local ghost hunters named Jon and Karina Kozuska.
Yeah, so they've been doing it for a while, from what I understand. So it'll be interesting to hear some of the stories that they've come across. Myself, I'm a little skeptical. I don't know if I believe in ghosts, maybe some sort of energy floating around out there, but I don't know. I've never experienced anything, so we'll see, what they have to say about that.
Yeah, I'm with you there. I'm definitely of the skeptic variety. I don't really believe in ghosts, but I really would like to. I think there's a certain optimism to the idea that like there's something beyond death, right? But as a general rule, I don't believe. So I am eager to see what they might have to share, what kind of tales they have.
Yeah, maybe they can sway us into that lifestyle. I don't know. We'll see.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess should we?
We should probably head out. Do you mind just watching our drinks while we're gone? We won't be too long. All right, cool.
The truth is out there, but these two dingbats aren't likely to find it. You're watching Half Cut Myths and Mysteries.
We're here with Jon and Karina Kozuska from True North Paranormal. And we are here to ask you guys about your experiences investigating the supernatural and the paranormal. Thanks for coming out and talking to us.
Absolutely, our pleasure.
You.
Thanks for taking the time to sit down with us. We really appreciate it.
I guess to start with, how did you guys get interested in this? Like, what was it that first piqued your interest in the supernatural world?
You go first on this.
I was going to say you go first, but okay.
No, not you, ladies first. My answer's longer.
All right. I've always been a strange child, and I used to do silly things when I was little just to scare myself. I used to make these remember cassette tapes?
Yeah.
I used to make scary sounds on them, and then I'd press play, turn the lights off, and crawl under the bed. And that's what I did when I was about 8 years old, and I don't know, I've always been into just being scared, and then I got into seeing ghosts. Like, I've always kind of sensed something else out there, and I've always just been curious about what's after death.
So did you see ghosts early on, or?
No, I've never felt alone, though. I always talked to myself. I remember learning how to read, and I would read my book out loud. I would not read to myself. I would get kicked to my bedroom to read my book because I would read it out loud. And I think it was because I knew that I wasn't alone, and I was, reading to my spirit guides or, whoever was with me. I'm still never alone. Nobody is.
We just think we are sometimes.
That's pretty
right,
ominous.
Yeah, we're never really alone.
And do you have a story for yourself that kind of got you into
Mine's a little bit more convoluted. I mean, you talk to a lot of investigators, and I mean, I'm not a psychic medium like Karina. I have nothing of the sort. I rely on my gear. And I remember my grandfather had passed away, and he was like my hero. And this was going back a long time. I think I was 9 years old when it happened. So it just kind of hit me out of left field, and I was all sad and busted up. And me and my brother, we like spending time over there. So our grandmother, a couple weeks after the funeral, said, you want to come over and spend the night again? I miss you guys. And we're like, yeah, of course, let's go. So we slept on the second floor of this old war house. It was a 2-story house. It was built in the Second World War, and then my grandparents bought it after that. And I used to have to come down 6 stairs, hit a flight, or a landing and then turn down and go down the rest of the kitchen where the water was. The washroom was beside the kitchen, and as I was coming down the top flight of stairs, I turned and looked down, and I watched my grandfather walk past the bottom, and I was like, I don't know to this day whether I was dreaming or whether I saw him. You know, was it a thing where it's like I wanted to see him so bad and missed him so much I had to see him one more time? So ever since then, I've been on this mission to find out what's on the other side. Is there a possibility? And that's my story, man.
Wow, that's really interesting. Yeah, that's kind of cool.
Yeah.
Now, you'd mentioned that Karina is a psychic medium. Can you kind of explain, I guess, just give me a better definition of like what a medium does? Like,
Yeah. Well, psychic mediums, you see them on TV, and they kind of have this label to them. I'm not really a fan of labels, but I started off, I realized I was an empath, where I felt things. I just felt other people's emotions. Like I would go into a room and I would sense that somebody was just nasty in there, and I would leave immediately. And then I kind of got involved with channeling, where I was able to kind of brush up on my gifts. And now I can sense a lot more, and they're still always changing. So, yeah, it's funny, and I've been, I guess, given the gift of clairvoyance. Yeah. So I've been giving readings to my friends for a couple of years now, and I can actually see them way into the future, like when they're a grandmother, and I can tell them how many grandchildren, and I see, you know, a vision of them walking by a beach. So I can do that now. I never was able to do that. But then again, you know, I was able to do things before, you know, sometimes that I've never been able to do again. So, I mean, these gifts keep coming and going, and they keep changing and evolving, and you're constantly learning. So, psychic medium, the label, means that I can sense and feel people after they've moved on. But I think it's much more than that, too. It's a little bit of everything. There's so many different labels out there.
Is there any element of communication with the dead?
Yeah. I don't know if you've ever heard like loud voices in your head. Like, I know it sounds crazy. I'm not schizophrenic, but sometimes you do. You hear just voices in your head, and you look around, and you're looking at other people. Like, did you hear that voice? And you realize nobody else is hearing that except you. And you know, and you realize these are messages that are only meant for you, and you kind of have to work with it.
Is that like a two-way thing? Like you can yell back at them? Or
yeah, it's kind of like a telepathic thing.
Okay.
Where, you know how people pray, it's kind of like in their head and in their mind, and you know they're being listened to, or they feel that they've been heard. It's kind of the same thing. You can kind of call it whatever you want, but yeah, you can kind of speak, you know, to your guides or to your loved ones in your head, and they will hear you.
So what was the point where you guys decided to go beyond just, I have a curiosity in what's beyond this world, and really start investigating?
Kind of what brought us together?
Yeah, ghosts were kind of the topic that brought us together. I'd been investigating, you know, aside from the band thing I was doing. I'd been doing stuff like that at the time for about 5 years before I even met Karina. About 5 years before I met you. So, I mean, for me it was then, but with, you know, True North kind of propelled things forward.
Yeah, we started talking about ghosts, and that's how we met.
So I guess you've kind of talked a little bit about you know, what got you into it, and you can kind of sense things a lot more. So I'm assuming you rely on Karina's, her abilities there. So what can you kind of take us through a little bit of the process of if you were to enter somewhere? You know, how would that process go where you're trying to investigate something or look for something? Like,
typically that would start, the first thing I kind of want to get in the open is she doesn't know anything about buildings. We've made it so she doesn't get to research. She doesn't even get to know where we're going until we get to the place. We're going to this town, and that's all she gets to find out. We don't want her to be led, and we found cold readings, which is what we call them, are some of her best work. So Karina will come in and do a cold read of a building, and she'll basically document and pinpoint specific things that are going to trigger a response or some form of activity that I'll be able to substantiate with the gear I'm using.
I'll be like, yeah, if you put this piece of tech over here, you're gonna get some activity here. Or sometimes, you know, we'll go into a dark basement, and I'm like, well, this is a creepy basement, but there's nothing going on in here, so we won't even bother.
Speaking of gear, I'm a little curious about like if someone decides one day that they would like to just as an average person try to do some kind of investigating of the supernatural or the paranormal, what would be like the bare minimum gear that they would need, or would they even need gear at all?
The first thing you need is common sense.
Okay.
The biggest thing you need to understand is not every building is haunted. In fact, I will say a low percentage of buildings are actually legitimately able to say they're haunted or have unexplained activity, which is the term we use, because haunted is such a cliche word.
Gotcha.
You know, your head's got to be the first thing that you have, a good level head. If you're, oh no, it's definitely haunted, and you're going in with that mentality, you're already toast, pack it up.
Yeah.
You know, you're in the wrong field. If you want to go in there with an objective, you know, state of mind, that's the first piece. Next thing you need, I'd say, would be things to measure out EMF, electromagnetic frequencies. You know, a Mel meter, K2 meter. You know, I'd say start small like that. Voice recorders, you know, EVPs or electronic voice phenomenons are amazing things to catch, and it's kind of these cool little hidden gems when you're done. Yeah. What do you figure?
Yeah, I think so. REM pod, I think, is a handy little device as well. But anybody starting out, there's gear. It's easily accessible.
Easily accessible.
Now, when it comes to the gear and what you've recorded and stuff, what is maybe, you know, do you have an example of something particularly compelling, some the most compelling evidence or experience that you guys have come across?
Man, we have so much of that now.
Yeah.
So the most compelling piece of evidence I think I had in terms of seeing that there is intelligence on the other side is I went into this building, the Kaitani House in Vernon, and we specifically put down our SB11, which is a spirit box. So we multi-band AM/FM frequencies in a specific pattern to simulate the white noise in which they're able to say words or phrases. So I'd said something, and I said, well, my name's John. Can you say hi, John? And then clear as day, hi, John. It's like, wow. Am I talking to Sveva? And then a man came through and said, not Sveva. So
Yeah, that's pretty
it was
creepy.
pretty
Wow.
creepy.
Wow.
We got some pretty compelling evidence in that one. And I mean, that's just kind of tip of the iceberg, right? Like we've had instances like that numerous times where we get class A disembodied voices. You know, those things are just amazing. You know, you get this girl in the room when there's only two of you going, mm-hmm. And it's like, what the hell did I just hear? You know, this is amazing.
Or the crying girl.
Oh man, that's wrong.
Yeah, that was the basement.
Yeah, that was the same basement. I don't like that
Yeah.
one. That one bothered
Yeah.
me.
Yeah, I've seen John and Dean ran out of the house. I saw the aftermath. It was pretty funny. I love it when you get scared.
I wouldn't say ran so much as
You ran.
we walked at a brisk pace.
No, you fell
know.
into each other almost.
No, that was the catwalk.
No.
That's the other piece of really
I
crazy
remember
evidence.
differently.
The other piece of really crazy evidence that I'd be happy to share is actually our ScoobyDoo moment, and it's one of the ones that Dean and I got known for. So we were on a catwalk at the Powerhouse Theater, also in Vernon, and it's about 25 feet up, 25,
Yeah.
something to that effect. There was reports of something would walk around this catwalk, and Dean and I, well, it's our job. My job's to go into the dark, and his job is to, you know, have a good set of stones and keep the camera on me, right? So we're standing there, and my back is to this one room, and I already did not like this room. We had some weird things happen in this room, and we didn't really enjoy it. And I'm like, man, I don't like my back to this hallway. And Dean's like, shh. So I stopped talking, and I'm like, what is that? And you hear this a couple of footsteps. And we're like, what the hell? There's someone walking up here. So I called out. And then sure enough, as soon as I did that, it went and started running at us and stopped. We got all this on camera. Dean went this way and I went this way, and we both met in the middle. We were like Shaggy and Scooby.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
So
So it sounds like Vernon seems to be pretty haunted, but have you done anything in Kamloops here? Have you done any investigations around town?
we have.
Yep.
Probably the most notable one.
Whispers?
Whispers is definitely one of them. Former funeral parlor.
Oh, yeah.
I think Whispers was the only real one we did in Kamloops. Yeah, nothing else in Kamloops. So everything. So we've been
Vernon-
across Canada
yeah,
though.
Yeah, we've been all over the place, but Kamloops, no.
Is there like a holy grail spot for ghost hunters? Like,
There probably is.
I think it's different for everybody.
Everybody has their, ooh, I want to go here place.
What's yours?
I know what yours is. Mine is the Amityville house.
See, that's what comes to mind when I think about
I
like
really want to go there.
the Holy Grail. Yeah.
Yeah.
Not me. I remember Lorraine Warren's words, and we are
Yeah.
friends with her family.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Lorraine Warren's grandson Chris is friends with us, as is her son-in-law Tony Spira. So we talk with them. But mine would be the Tower of London.
Yeah.
I want to be locked in the Tower of London for a couple nights and just see if I can find the beheaded woman. It would be epic.
Wow.
Yeah.
Now, speaking of Amityville, one of the questions I had was whether or not there's any place that has the kind of reputation where you just wouldn't want to go. And is that your reaction to Amityville, or?
My reaction to Amityville is, you have to understand, from my perspective, Ed and Lorraine Warren are kind of the family. They're the matriarch and patriarch of paranormal investigation,
yeah.
and they really put it on the map and took away the taboo. When Lorraine Warren gives a warning, something to the tune of, that is the closest to hell I've ever been and I'll never go back, I want no part of it.
Oh, wow.
You just have to pull yourself away from
And
that
I
stuff.
actually agree with that. I don't think I would ever spend the night there, but because it's been my favorite movie since I was little, I still have to go visit the house.
I'll wait outside. I'm kidding. I'd go in with some gear
But
probably.
anyways, there is a house that is very similar to the Amityville house that we have visited.
Yeah.
And yeah.
It's, it was pretty nasty. It's actually in Sandon.
And where?
Sandon, BC.
Sandon, BC.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, very nasty thing in that house.
Yeah.
And is that a case where someone contacted you and said, like, we're having these experiences, can you come and look at it? Or had you heard of the house and sort of?
Well, Sandon itself, it was actually, we got a tip from somebody saying it was an old mining town and it's supposed to be haunted. So, I mean, I reached out, and back then when we made our initial calls, I'd be reaching out to people. We're at the point now where we have the luxury, people are reaching out to us too, which is kind of nice because it makes my job a little easier. You know, I don't have to wait for the dreaded, no thank you. You know, it's like, hi, this is click, okay, you know. But yeah, no, Sandon, yeah. What do you figure?
Well, yeah, Sandon. I don't know what to say about Sandon. I love the place. I mean, at one time it was a big, huge city with 141 brothels and 85 hotels, and now there's like 4 buildings.
Right, more brothels than hotels?
Yeah,
That's
you bet they did.
quite the economy.
I know, and it was, they mined silver there. And this house is just abandoned, and they use it for storage, and so thank goodness nobody lives there.
Yeah. Do you guys have an episode on that one? Or?
Yes, it will be coming out in this first season, so you'll see that on Paraflix and Amazon Prime as well. Yeah. Had quite the experience in that one.
Yeah, there's some good evidence you'll see in that one.
So when you go into a place and you find some spirits or paranormal activity that I guess kind of rubs you the wrong way or gives you some weird feeling, like is there something you do afterwards to, I guess, cleanse yourself or get rid of that? Like, is that?
Yeah, I think everybody has their own thing that they do, and you know, I kind of ground myself and clear myself and go in with a clear head ahead of time, and then if I feel something really nasty there, you know, I have to do the same after. You know, I need to just ground, cleanse, clear my head, maybe have a shower. Yeah.
Yeah, mine's a little different. My producer's Métis, he's a pipe carrier, and that's kind of the belief system that I followed. I have an aunt who's also First Nations, so that's kind of the way I went. So, you know, I do a water purification after I'm done, you know. So there's always steps we take to make sure when we leave, you know, not that I subscribe to the possibility that something's gonna follow you, but in the off chance, we make sure that doesn't happen.
Now, do you ever need to take like a conscious break between visiting this place and visiting this place because it's, you know, experiencing too much in too short a period of time?
That's a great question.
It happened to me. I was like on the verge of, after about a week of investigating so many places, you need a break. Otherwise you start, not going cuckoo, but remember I was getting so sensitive.
Yeah, where's
I mean, I was crying over everything near the end there. It's like, oh my goodness. So you need some good, just rest.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd have to say the same. I'd say it definitely wears you down. I mean,
Yeah.
we still don't know what's on the other side. I mean, we all believe it's basically the first law of thermodynamics. Energy can't be destroyed, it can only be changed. So we believe that's what ghosts are, but if you look at that from that perspective, I mean, that's a lot of stuff you're playing around with, whether it's the EMF or who knows. So, I mean, I think the more you're around it, absolutely, it wears you down pretty quick.
Yeah. And also staying up all night doesn't help.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, so like ghosts are more active at night rather than during the day, or
Not
no?
even necessarily,
No.
nope, no.
No, the reason we do that is actually, okay, so we go in the dark because it takes away the gift of sight. So I mean,
okay.
I want to rely on my ears because my eyes can trick me. I want my ears and my nose to be more effective. So we go in and we have our tech, which becomes our eyes.
And so now you mentioned that your, I guess, goal when you started was to see what was in, you know, the afterlife.
Yeah.
Is there anything that you've come across in your investigations, anyone that you've spoken to that has given you any clues as to what might be, if there's anything beyond this world?
I have done a lot of reading of Sylvia Brown. I don't know if you know who she is. She was a famous psychic too. She was on the Montel Williams show a lot. She's probably got 150 books out. I have, I think, most of those books in my library, and she is very clear on what's on the other side. Very clear.
what is her explanation then, or what is her description of what it's like?
Her description is it's right here. It's just in another dimension. It's like 2 feet above and like in another, but it's right here. And everything on the other side is exactly the way it is here, like the continents, the countries and everything, but it's just cleaner. It's, what did she say? In Scotland? I don't know, she said something about Scotland where the Hall of Voices is. The Hall of Voices is a building on the other side where the seraphim and the cherubim angels sing. And anyways, there's this one place in Scotland where it's the exact polar opposite of where it is on the other side, and you can hear them singing.
Huh.
So I know that's like an example.
Yeah.
But yeah, she goes into great detail of what the other side is about.
Is that something that you've found in a lot of your investigations, that a lot of the areas that you are where there is paranormal activity is because of people that have died there, or?
You
like
know,
what?
I'd say it's kind of a 50-50. Sometimes we find that it's actually, they just love the place. We love drinking in this pub, in this hotel. This was my happy place, so I want to stay here. Sometimes it's violent, and
Yeah.
they don't even know they've passed.
A lot of people don't know that they're even dead because it's so, they say that it's more real on the other side than it is here. Like it's way more real. So, I mean, it's hard to tell. And they say too, the transition from being alive to dying is a lot easier than it is being born. They say that being born is the most painful thing you've ever gone through. I mean, you're going through this dark tunnel, all of a sudden these hands are all over you. And
Everything's very loud and bright.
everything's loud, and it's like, oh my God, what's going on? But
I'm glad I don't remember
Yeah.
that.
And right, exactly.
Yeah.
That sounds pretty traumatic.
Yeah.
yeah, it is. But they say it's a piece of cake. If you can be born, you can die, no problem.
Well, I mean, I feel like death is going to happen whether I want it to or not. So
Yeah.
it's just going to be like, all right, well,
Yeah.
I can put up all the fight I want, but my life's going to come out of me at some point.
Yeah.
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 I mean,
So I mean, you mentioned this about like what causes ghosts to stay. Like sometimes it's a violent death, sometimes it's like a place they really liked. Is that sort of the only two reasons that a ghost might stay behind, or are there others that you've run into?
I think there's a plethora.
Yeah.
There really is. I think with the paranormal, the thing is we just don't know enough to really substantiate an answer to really fit that question.
Sometimes mental stability, like somebody with mental issues, suicides, things like that too, they can get kind of stuck in there, and it's sad that they can like relive their death over and over and over again until, you know, a psychic can come in and like move them on to the other side so they're not stuck in that loop, because that has happened. That happens, and it's sad.
The other thing I would wonder is, do you think, like right now, there are tools that you can use when you're, going out and investigating an area. You've got
I'll show you before you leave. I
Cool,
got like
would
your-
love to get
I'll
some
make
that
sure
would be
you see
awesome.
some.
Yeah.
But even so, even with those tools that we have right now, it's still a matter of interpreting the information and that sort of thing. You can't get to anything definitive, right? Do you think that it's only a matter of time until we can find a technology that could definitively decide what's happening on the other side?
I do.
Yeah, you do?
I do. There are so many advancements in terms of gear or technology that I think it's just a matter of time. You know, there's going to be something that's going to come along that's going to be your yes or no. It's going to be the smoking gun.
I mean, the technology side is like fascinating. I'm kind of interested in that, like just in my real life. But I noticed that you have some tarot cards on the counter there behind you, and that's like, I mean, in this whole thing, that's really what is fascinating to me, is like being able to communicate with the other side and having that like internal gift. I don't know if it's like inappropriate to like ask if you could use that gift tonight. Like, I don't know how that works.
I don't for you.
Like,
yeah, I can do that.
All right, yeah, 'cause
You
that
do
would be
too?
really.
Yeah, I'll
Okay.
give you guys.
There you
Do you
go.
want one right now?
Sure, yeah, we might as well.
What it really means is I can't buy guitars without her knowing about it before I do it. It sucks. Yeah.
Like, John, you're not leaving the house
That's
today,
right.
otherwise you're
What
going back
did
to
you
the
buy?
guitar.
I know what you've got planned.
Yeah.
You're not going L&M.
All right. What was your first name again?
Carlo.
All right, Carlo. I like this card. The apple, risk and reward. Okay, so I am feeling that that there might be something out there that you want to do, but you're not sure about it. But it's a bit of a risk, and you're concerned about that, and you're worried about that. But the reward is amazing, so you should probably go for it, because what you should do is risk the pros and the cons, but the reward is good. So
Take the risk.
take the risk. I think the reward outweighs the yeah.
Cool. Thanks. All right.
Yeah.
And so just keep that in mind.
Todd's turn.
All right.
All right, let's do it.
Your card is the underworld. Can you read that? I don't have my reading glasses on underneath it.
That's unsettling.
Where all things pause and begin again. That is pretty
You
unsettling.
stumped her. Oh my god.
No, do you have trouble sleeping?
Yeah.
There's some vitamin or something that you should take. I know this is so weird. There's something that you're missing in your diet that might help you sleep. And it's showing me a pomegranate. I don't know if that's exactly what it is.
Okay.
But there's something physical that you can take to help you sleep.
I mean, my diet is pretty terrible, so it wouldn't surprise me to find out that
There's your card.
there's something that I could
That's
eat.
freaky.
Did you see your card?
No, I didn't.
Oh, you totally snobbed him out.
Sorry.
I was waiting. She
Yeah.
does this thing too, right?
No. Yeah, because I
Did you see my
do
card
it
there?
on live every Tuesday night. So this is what I was doing tonight.
Oh, okay.
And because I'm live on Facebook, I don't show really the cards, right?
Right. These are really beautiful
That
cards.
was your card.
Okay.
Yeah, this is my Halloween deck, and
Right.
I don't know. I know it's not Halloween,
Sorry,
but I
where am
like
I? Got it. Cool. Wow, that's kind of creepy, but really.
Yeah,
Yeah, not as creepy as the underworld.
yeah.
Yeah, I know. Yeah.
I know.
Thought she was gonna tell you how much time you had left.
Yeah, exactly. if I don't fix my diet.
Yeah.
All right, well, thanks so much, you guys.
No, thanks.
Yeah,
Thanks for having us.
Yeah,
I really
thank you.
appreciate
It was
it.
fun.
And I wish you guys luck on this too.
Yeah, I really
Yeah.
enjoyed the conversation, and I
Yeah.
really want to peep at your gear.
I'll make sure I bring it up for you before you go.
yeah,
Don't worry.
for sure.
Well, yeah, that was
Not exactly what I was expecting. Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't. Oh, you're still here. Thanks for watching our drinks while we
Yeah,
were
thank you.
away. Yeah, that was. We got a tarot reading
Yeah.
by Karina there, and mine was pretty interesting. A little generic, but still, I guess, fortune tellery. I got to take risks, and there
Right.
will be a reward.
Right, that's very fortune cookie.
Yeah.
Whereas
yours
mine, a
was-
little different. I was told to eat more pomegranates, which was not the message I was expecting from the
Yeah.
spirit world, but Maybe it was the right message.
They're looking out for you.
I guess they are.
Definitely go buy some pomegranates tonight.
Yeah, it's a good thing I like those.
Yeah. Other than that, though, they had some really good stories. Like, I thought it was interesting. I don't know if it swayed me one way or another to believe or disbelieve in ghosts or spirits. I still feel like there could be some energy out there, but I don't know. Yeah.
I think it's hard to be convinced by someone's stories. I think, it's got to be your own personal experience. So it would be wild to go and maybe do some ghost hunting with them or somebody else sometime, to sort of tag along and see what that process is like.
Yeah, I mean, Jon did talk about a lot of his equipment that he uses, so that would be cool if we could get him to bring that out and show us some of that in action.
Yep.
And then see what Karina can do with her powers. So
Yeah, maybe one day.
yeah, that'd be nice if we can arrange something.
Yeah. Well, I think we're going to wrap things up here and, pay off our tab and head home. It's getting late.
Yes. Well, thanks for joining us.
Yeah, thank you.
Cheers.
Cheers.